One of the hard things that we had to deal with is we were purchasing all this inventory from them. But the problem was we couldn't find a lot of that inventory. Okay. I'm talking not there.
Like, we're not talking about skip accounts. We're talking about inventory that should be there that's just not.
Yeah. Like on the books, pretty quickly, and within that first week, it's like, well, you're looking at your inventory and you're like, this says we have 300 cars.
Yeah.
Well, that'll see. Where are they?
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Independent Dealer Podcast.
On site again, bud.
On site again here at Vamos Auto.
Vamos. Muchacho.
Luke, who do we got?
We have Travis Allison and Casey Allison.
And Kelly Sissown. A couple of good-looking guys. Great hair.
Please, look at this hair.
He's the
Stop.
good
I know.
looking one.
I mean, did your hair ever look like that?
No, not since I was
Not even when you came out of the
not
womb.
as a
Your
baby.
hair.
No.
4 years old, your hair looked like this.
Some of us are blessed with other things.
I was gonna say they've got product for that now, I guess, right? You can probably
Moving right along. Guys, thank you so much for your time. This is exciting. You have such a beautiful location here and some very specific things I want to talk about in a minute because, man, what a unique business model you've got going on here. Like, blows my mind. But let's just rewind this thing all the way to the back. Give us an introduction to the podcast community. Where'd you guys come from? Like, what's your background? And then we're going to talk a little about how you got thrust into this crazy buy here, pay here business.
Sure. No, I'll start. Thanks for having us again. Houston natives, both of us. Third generation car business. Our grandpa had a Ford dealership actually in Waxahachie, not too far from here, back in the 60s and 70s. Still have family with some franchise stores in Houston. A couple cousins that are working in the franchise world. Cool. So it's very much, our dad was a used car guy our whole entire life. Actually just retired 2 years ago. I think 40 or 45 years in the used car business.
And then he has no hair.
Yeah, well, he does not have hair. That's exactly right. Does not have hair. So, very much grew up in the industry.
Yeah.
I went into the wholesale side first. I went to work for Odessa Auto Auction in 2010. Thought the greener grass was in retail, so I went and tried selling cars. I did that for a couple years. I ended up back with America's Auto Auction. I spent 5 years there. Helped open a greenfield site of theirs in South Houston as an operations manager for them. And then I got poached by a large buy here, pay here dealer. This was 2017.
Okay.
And I remember at the time going, I wasn't sure, there was, kind of the stigma around buy here, pay here. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get back into the retail space. I took a leap of faith. It was for some pretty good people and cut my teeth over the last, 5-6 years in the buy here, pay here space. And so,
wow.
And you said you were in sales. I know. I thought you were just an operations guy.
Yeah. No, that's why he's in operations now. The sales didn't work.
It kind of washed him out.
Yeah. I was not going to be a career sales guy. I knew that from the very start. It just takes a certain type. And so, my love was always with what was going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I fell in love with the operations side of the business, anything from, buying the car to servicing the car. You guys know there's just a big piece of the world that is that, and I just decided to make that my specialty. And so, fast forward, 18 months ago, we kind of landed this deal and here we are, relocated my family up here from Houston. And
Wow.
That's a trajectory, but it's always been in the car business. My grandfather was a Ford dealer too, so I know how y'all feel. Travis, how about you?
Well, so obviously the same upbringing.
Yeah.
Right. So we can just fast forward to that. I was at college. I was a finance major at A&M, and my senior year was when 9/11 happened. So we all remember what we were doing that day, and that was just one of those days that I always look at my life pre 9/11 and post 9/11. That's really my kind of.
I was that age because I'm a year older than you. God.
So for me, it was like put on the suit, go interview for a financial job. But I had heard too many stories of families that lost everything. And when I mean everything, they're all their employees during 9/11. So
I was like, I can't just sit on the sidelines here, right? So I went to the recruiter, put an application for a pilot slot in the Navy, and somehow got one. I don't know how they chose me, but
Were you? I mean, did you have interest in flying prior to that?
not really. I mean, once again, I always say the car business and aviation kind of go hand in hand. So when you get into, like, my grandfather was, as a car dealer, naturally got into aviation.
You got to have a plane.
You got to have, so he actually started a Cessna dealership when we were little.
Really?
And so we were always around planes. I never looked at it as something I was going to do as a job. Like, that was going to be the path.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the airlines or I'm going to go to the military. I just wanted to go be a college kid and
Wow.
started my
You in the Corps? Like,
No.
that's crazy. Okay.
It wasn't that I was like
I guess.
against the military or anything. I just wasn't the path at the time for
Gotcha.
me, So I was business major and just thought that was be the route I was going to go. And so post 9/11, get a pilot slot in the Navy, start flight school in Pensacola. We'll go through officer candidate school in Pensacola, and then start flight school in Corpus Christi, then advanced flight training in Kingsville, and then F-18 training in Oceana, Virginia Beach.
Wow.
So spent roughly 14 years active duty. I was blessed enough. I was a Top Gun graduate, so I went through Top Gun.
It's Maverick.
So
Explains the hair.
yeah. So I
Did
mean,
they recruit you based on your look or your abilities? Because I feel like you had probably both.
so a few deployments, Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, and then we had 2 little ones at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home from my last deployment, and my son, I surprised him at like you see on those videos. I called my neighbor and I said, "Hey man, make sure my wife's home and there's nothing nefarious going on at the house."
We're coming in with a camera.
So I surprised him. I came home and I remember my son looking at me like that stare of like, I know who you are,
Oh man. Oh.
but like, I'm a little bit worried right now.
Oh man.
Kind of thing. And that look, and he ran up to my wife and just grabbed her leg. And I just was like, okay.
This is it.
I was like, I'd done everything I wanted to do in the Navy. I mean, I would have loved to stay and do it as a career, but honestly, to me, it was time to go be a family man.
Yeah.
And so before I left on my last deployment, I went back and got my MBA at William & Mary. So I knew I wanted to get back into finance. I just didn't know what. My wife was from Dallas. So she said, "Can we move to Dallas?" I said, "Yes, ma'am."
Sure.
So fast forward, we moved to Dallas. I don't know anyone in Dallas other than her family.
Even though you grew up in Houston,
Just total 2 different towns, as you know.
Yeah.
Right? And so you didn't really have any connections here in Dallas, and was able to, just like any business world, I met a guy that was a high net worth guy here in Dallas.
There's not many of those around though.
Not a lot. And he offered me a job to come work at his family office and do analytics and help run their family's money. And then, they had a private equity division,
Ooh.
commercial real estate. So huge here in Dallas.
Hey guys, just to jump in and talk about Buckeye Risk Services. They've been one of our sponsors forever. They're great to the industry. They're one of your sponsors. You don't even know it. Every time you go to a convention or something like that, they're there helping out. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I have not seen a company so willing to get behind the dealers from an education, from a support standpoint. I mean, there's a handful that we see in our sphere that are very active and always have our back, but Buckeye really sets the standard. So when you're looking for a reinsurance company, if you've decided it's time to get into it, you've got to call the guys and girls over at Buckeye. I promise you will not regret it.
Yep. Reinsurance, forced savings account, wealth building, tax planning, all these things go together. So call Buckeye.
And now you're a freaking buy here, pay here dealer.
Yeah. It was I've never, look, it's an ends and means for me. Like,
Sure.
To me, it's, do you enjoy what you're doing? I don't care what the name, what you call it. It's kind of the whole thing now is, the turf toe. Have you seen this thing? Like, they're saying like they need to rename it from turf toe because it sounds so benign when these players get turf toe in the NFL and they're out for 6 months.
Yeah.
Same thing with buy here, pay here. I want someone to come up with a new name. Yeah. For buy here, pay here.
Combat.
Brain damage here.
So, someone needs to come up with a better name than buy here, pay here. We can rebrand that, right? So get in the family office, 36 starting all over again, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go there anyway. So jump into that. It was transitioning from the military is not for the faint-hearted, I know. And so, because you come from a place where that's your identity, right? And so you used to being on top of your profession, and then you start over, which is fine, but it's a grind again. After about a year working in the family office, I decided I wanted to take a different route, and we were looking at. I was reached out to Casey. He was with America's Auto Auction. They were a hedge, this private equity owned. I said, okay, this makes sense. So went over there on the corporate side and helped the auto auction from the private equity world.
Okay.
So started there, kind of back in the car business, and said, okay, like I kind of enjoy this. Yes, this is great. And that's when I started, because we bought a store in an auction in Virginia. It was poorly run. And so, they were I said, you know what, I'll go up there
and run it.
I'll run it. If I'm going to be taken serious in this business, you got to go put your boots on the ground. So went up there and ran it for a year, and, you just meet all walks of life at the auction business. And, really started realizing that, this buy here, pay here, whatever we name it, the rename it.
Yeah.
It's, you have a little bit, you can really put your stamp on this business,
right?
Where we grew up, like I said, it was retail franchise world,
and there's no stamp.
There's the franchise is like, here's the playbook, and execute the playbook. And if you execute the playbook,
you can make a lot of money.
You'll make a ton of money. That's right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I just said, hey, this sounds a little bit more interesting, especially from a financial side. And so, when I was coming back from Virginia, once again, and Casey reached out to me and said, hey, we have a CFO position at this company. Would you like to, so I went and interviewed, and they hired me as a CFO of that.
Well, nice.
Of that buy here, pay here dealership, and was able to really cut my teeth. And by doing that, that's where I started building all these bank relationships. Right. So the one thing that I wanted to do was just, when I got there, I realized, hey, this business is really ripe for some analytical growth, like actually bringing some substance behind the buy here, pay here, where it's not just like on a piece of paper.
Yeah. We've talked about that. You and I have talked about that data is so important in this business, and it's neglected.
It's totally neglected.
And it's neglected because we don't have the resources to analyze it every day, all day long.
Yeah.
And one of the things y'all have done here is brought in data analysis.
And what was great about, we had 10,000 accounts. There was tons of data to strip through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beauty of having all the data. And I had really realized the power of data when I was at the family office and doing the private equity stuff. But I really noticed it when I was at America's Auto Auction. We went to Capital One to pitch getting their repos. And we sat down, and it's a big conference room like this. And I don't know why they chose me to go with the other people. But anyways, our sales people, sat down and gave out the goodie bags. And I remember the head of the Capital One division just said, do you have any analytics for any arbitrage numbers on why we should choose America's Auto Auction versus Manheim or Odessa?
Which makes perfect sense.
Yep. And I just remember the look on
salespeople going, oh no,
we got a goodie bag. Didn't you see what's in the goodie bags?
in there? Yeah, there's pins and you want to add and a butter. And I remember him saying, he looked at every one of us and said, listen, data is the new currency.
Oh,
if you can't mine your own data, we don't have time for it.
Get out of here. Yeah.
And I left, and I thought, okay, well, he just confirmed what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Right. And so I started going, okay, well, how do we mine our own data in this business? Right. And I had worked with a software company, a Salesforce product called Tableau when I was at the family office. So I knew that it could source a ton of data. But the problem is when I started sourcing it, I realized that all the data that was going in was just
garbage. Yeah.
So you had to start back and
garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when it dawned on me that, hey, let's get a little bit more analytic driven. And it was not that we're going to make decisions solely based on analytics, but it'll at least give us an idea of how to go in those directions.
And when you're looking at a portfolio of 10,000, you can get good data.
Yeah,
for sure. So many buy here, pay here's are probably like the 2 and the 300s, right? And you can get data, but that data is just not skewed right quite a bit. It's not exact.
And one thing that you'll know about us as you forge this relationship with us as we move on, like we're an open book. We don't have trade secrets that's just not the way we operate. You know, the way I've always it's like the old football coach is like, look, this guy's the starter in front of you. If you want to win the job, beat him. That's right. Right. Like you're going to get the same plays to work with.
Well, we got hammered last week, South Carolina, that is, got hammered last week because we couldn't block or tackle. It's back to that, right?
It's simple. Right. And so I just think that the more you can help the industry, the better the industry can get as a whole. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm like, you know, we're the savants. We have all of our struggles.
Yeah.
But I want to help. And so if you want to look at my numbers, I'm fine with it. Like it's not, I don't have anything to hide from it.
That's interesting to me. So, I mean, help me paint the picture. Like you guys are both working for a large buy here, pay here,
Yeah.
probably doing just fine. Yeah. And you've got a lot of options. You say, hey, I can get into the software business. I understand data. I could graduate into a larger, like buy here, pay here, you know, a venture-backed massive firm. But you guys took a different route.
Yeah.
And help us understand that. Like, how did this opportunity present itself? And when did you say, I'm going to go from being data-driven to like, I want to take the whole I want to own this place. I want my name on the building. Like I want to like run this joint. What was the what happened?
You know, opportunities present themselves when you're not expecting them. So it's not like I was out searching for anything, but it's the bank relationships that I had built over my time, you know, which is doing the right thing, being transparent, just, you know, having a good relationship with you, never burning a bridge kind of thing. One of our lenders had reached out to me and just said, hey, would you be willing to help this company out? Like when I say help, just sit down with the operator, show them what you're doing. You know, this would be a big help to us. We're just having some struggles with them. And so that was it. That's how it started. Okay. So I meet with the operator, sit down with him, do exactly what I was telling you. Hey, here's what we look at. This isn't, you know, completely turnkey, but like these are little pillars.
Monitor these numbers and fix them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so I started working with them just as I didn't ask for a consultant fee. I was just doing it as a favor to the lender, right, to the bank, and just saying, you know, look, because at the end of the day, I wanted to help them out and them. So there's not another, I don't want anyone to go out of business.
Right.
I hate it. It hurts my heart. And I will do anything to help someone stay in business. And I hope if we were ever in that situation, people would come to our, right. And so that's how that started. And then after about, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months of doing that, it was Christmas time, and maybe a little bit after that, and they had just said, hey, look, we're at the point now where we're probably going to make a move with the operator. And would this be something that you might be willing to take on? And I said, well, I have a job and I like working there. And, these people are good people and all those type of things. And so, I had to do a lot of soul searching. And Casey was the first person I called and said, once again, I know my strengths in this business, and I also know my big weaknesses. And my weaknesses are operations. If I didn't have Casey, we would be out of business in a week. So
that's what's so great and unique. So many people have to start a business on their own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And y'all are yin and yang.
Sure.
And that's how you make things work.
Well, that's what I said. I had told the lender, I said, listen, I'm not going to do this without my brother, not because he's my family, but in my opinion, he's the best in this business when it comes to pure operations.
Yeah.
So I need to have a conversation with him, because the last thing you want me to do is saying I'm going to do this thing and I got no one to help. Right. And so full transparency, we wanted to, because we had so much respect for the people that we worked for, we wanted to make sure that if we were going to do this, it wasn't one of those things where it was like a Jerry Maguire thing.
Yes.
And who's coming with me, and so we made it we just said, look, I talked to Casey. And then after about a month of doing some due diligence with the banks, they were like, look, we're looking to move on this, relatively quick. And
so let me ask you, Casey, how did that go?
What's
what
that phone
was the
call like?
conversation?
Yeah.
Well, I'd be lying if I told you hasn't been a dream of ours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you grow up in the industry, and obviously the big picture over time is that, you hope you get to do it with the people you love. And so while we weren't searching for the opportunity, when it came knocking on our door, it was like, oh, crap. Okay. This is getting real. Yeah. And so, both of us, prayed a lot about it, talked to our families a lot about it. And for us in the beginning, it was like, the idea was I would stay in Houston and he would stay in Dallas, and we would kind of we knew we wanted to run a kind of a 2-store operation.
Yeah.
And so we closed at the end of the March, and so I hadn't even come up here to see the facility. All I'd seen is pictures.
It's a fantastic.
And
yeah.
I came up here to visit, and I remember going home, and it was actually Easter Sunday. I told my wife that morning, I said, I think we're going to have to move to Dallas. And she goes, what? And bless her heart, I was up here working, Monday through Friday. I've got 2 little kids at home. She sold our house. We bought a house.
Wow.
And we were up here because it was all hands on deck. I mean, you guys know this is not something you can kind of turn a blind eye on for very long. And so,
especially at volume.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you stepped into some instant volume, right?
There was, obviously this was the last they had, I believe, 7 locations, but this was the last standing one at the time.
So at that point they had consolidated.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're having repos all across the state of Texas.
Okay.
Right. So it's not like you're just repoing in this square mile. Right. And so, and we had talked about, the business model that we wanted to run and, run all that through the bank. And I don't want to get lost in the whole story is partnering with the right lender matters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. And our lender / bank is a salt of the earth. Right. So we knew it was going to be a bloodbath. They knew it was going to be a bloodbath. There's no secret that I can tell anyone that says, there wasn't a lot of negotiation because we weren't coming in with any equity for the most part. I mean, I was in the military.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't like I had this treasure trove of money to just throw on the table. Right.
But it sounded like the bank understood that.
They understood that.
They understood that it was in their best interest to have someone knowing what they were doing to unwind this.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. There's so many banks that just pull the plug.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the worst thing they can do.
The worst thing.
How big was the...
Yeah, talk to us about the deal
portfolio,
structure you guys got
what
into
are we
as much as
talking
you...
Yeah, so it was $15 million. And then part of it was purchasing the inventory. So they ran a little bit different. Their floor plan and the revolver was all in one.
Okay.
So we wanted to separate the two. I just believe in having a separate floor plan and a separate revolver. You keep separation between church and state, and it's not all commingled. So one of the hard things that we had to deal with is we were purchasing all this inventory from them. But the problem was we couldn't find a lot of that inventory. Okay. I'm talking not there.
Like, we're not talking about skip accounts. We're talking about inventory that should be there that's just not.
Yeah.
Like on the books.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that made it, and we were talking about DMSs earlier. We came into IDMS, we came into Neo. Those were all systems we were using before. So on day one, I was able to go in and just start digging through and, pretty quickly. And within that first week, it's like, well, you're looking at your inventory and you're like, this says we have 300 cars.
Yeah.
Well,
that'll see.
Where are they?
Like I see 30 in transit. What do you mean in transit? Like where?
So, Travis, he always says this, but you can tell a lot about a buy here, pay here operation by how their back 40 looks, and we believe that wholeheartedly. And
sure,
gotta keep it turning.
Yeah, I mean, you can walk back. I mean, y'all been in this business long enough. You can walk any buy here, pay here, and within 5 minutes, I promise you can say what their financials should look like if they're doing them right.
Yeah,
and just the health of the company.
Yeah,
real quick.
Rewind a little bit more because you were in the previous owner's books for 6 to 8 months. Were you surprised that there were things that you're like, hey man, you should be tracking this and you're not at your scale? That's a problem. Like anything specific that you could pick out that you're like, guys, how are you not paying attention to this at your
a lot
size?
of it, I'll be honest with you, is getting the data on your repos and your charge-offs and just how long they're sitting on the lot. Like when I ran just basic numbers on how long their repo on hands, you're talking 100 days.
They would just repo a car and it would just sit somewhere in the corner and they wouldn't process it.
And I said,
because they didn't want to see the charge-off hit or because they what?
They don't want to see the charge-off hit. They don't want to get hit on their CRR, the borrowing base, all that kind of stuff. And so that
was, they were out of covenant, but they didn't show they were out of covenant.
Yeah. And so I just said, look, all this is fixable, but it's going to take hard conversations with the bank, and it's going to take you having to take some major concessions just on getting through because you're going to crater for a little bit. But if you're willing to have that conversation with the bank, you can get out of it. It's just going to be tough. And so the idea is, what y'all know is once that water starts building up on that dam, you're going to have to release it, but it's hard to you're going to take a major hit. And a lot of times the banks can't handle that.
Can you talk about the leverage percentage that we walk into and we're like, oh man, this is a nightmare?
I mean, it was over leveraged by 10 to 15 million probably. And it was just getting worse, and not getting better. And, that's ultimately what led to the deal structure was pretty simple. I mean, we sat down with the bank and said, okay, look, this is what it's going to take for us to walk through in the first day. We've got to have a line because we've got to be able to buy inventory. We got to be able to have a floor plan. We got to have the floor plan to buy the inventory, but we have a line to be able to start building the business. And, we worked with them, and then we came up with a purchase price and it was, you can try to figure out what it's never going to be what you think it's going to be. And it's not anything the bank's going to think it's going to be. So was it at a discount? Sure. Was it at the discount that either the bank and I thought
it was reasonable? No.
No.
You both disagreed on how much.
And that means it's perfect.
So, but that was, at the end of the day, that's why having a lender that is going to sit by your side. And I said, listen, we can nickel and dime this thing all day long, but none of us are going to know until we get there. And all I ask is, as we go and we peel back this onion, it's not a 911 6 months in.
Yeah.
Right. Like we need to have commitment on both sides. You want commitment from us that we're going to do the right thing. On the flip side of it, we need commitment from y'all that y'all are going to stick by our side as we go through this process. Yeah. Because that's what it takes, because it doesn't look pretty at the beginning.
You and I were talking about this, that this is not a one-day exit.
No.
When you're in the buy here, pay here business, if you decide that you want to close down, it's a multi-year process.
For sure.
To maximize the income, right?
Yep.
And so even taking over, it's
no different.
It's no different.
Yeah. And so we're trying to, once we get boots on the ground, let's start buying our own inventory, but that's going to take some time, right, to get that inventory shipped here, right? And so we buy it in March. April, we walk through the door April 1. Meet with the staff April 1. And
April Fool's Day, right?
Yeah, right? So, and it might have been April 2nd, whatever the Monday was. Yeah. I can't, don't hold me to that. Whatever Monday was, the first Monday of April of 2024. Then it's like, what do we have? I mean, that's when we went through and, we knew that we didn't want to do that inventory. We knew we didn't want to do that business model.
Did you sell any cars in April?
We did. We sold 22.
Okay.
Right. But it was like, we've got to sell something to just like
make yourself feel good.
Yeah. Make ourselves feel good. And to just, show some good faith to the banks that we're getting. But I had told them, I said, look, we're the first few months are just repo.
It was the only thing we sold in April was what was already just there.
And deals that were probably in the works and that kind of stuff.
I mean, really, April was just a come in and clean up, figure out staff, figure out process.
Yeah, because if you would have told me we didn't sell any cars for 2 months, I'd have been like, well, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. We use May 1st, June 1st is our first month.
Okay.
So April's kind of selling what's here. May's like, we've got some new inventory. Let's see how that works in here. And then it was like, okay, well, let's just cut the cord.
Yeah.
June 1, our underwriting, our business model, our everything, right? And so, look, if we were having to redo the financials, I didn't like the way the financials looked, not necessarily from like an optics standpoint, but just how everything was laid out. I want something that's simple, easy to use, banks can understand. So anyways, it was just, luckily, Casey and I had said, hey, we're just going to divide and conquer. Yeah. You go handle operations. I'm going to go.
You find the cars, find the accounts.
Yes.
Did you find all the cars?
Did you dig in and be like, wait a minute, they had a 2024 McLaren that was sold for $2? Like, where did that go?
We did an attempt to not throw the other people under the bus because they're not here. They can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
Look, was there stuff that you uncover that you go, seriously?
Yeah.
Of course, but I'm not in their shoes. Not my thing.
Yeah.
But like,
but even going into consult with other dealers, you look at things and you go, come on, man.
Well,
Come on, man.
that's about, we had a lot of those. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And those things hurt because
Yeah.
you had to purchase them, right? I.e. the inventory. You purchase this inventory that's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Like, is this a golf
Right.
simulator? What is this? What is this receipt
Yeah,
for?
whether you like it or not, whether you're going to retail it or not, I mean, that's cash for us. And so, it was really important to us that we, even if we were going to wholesale the inventory, you want to wholesale as much as you can and collect those dollars, I mean, I'm a big believer in that.
Let's talk about that transition from just the quality of inventory standpoint, because that's such a blaring, obvious difference right now. You guys have swum upstream. Like, you didn't swim, you took a ladder. Like, you ejected yourself
It's
upstream.
like the salmon of a Capistrano.
It was, bigger than that. Like, did that happen over time, or was that deliberate from day one? And also the transition of, like, those are two different customers. You guys, I mean, the brand had branded itself as someone that was a bargain, buy here, pay here, your typical run of the mill.
Yeah.
Now you guys are a premium in-house financing, or whatever you want to call it. And you're dealing with a much higher ACV. How was that transition?
Sure. So right, wrong, or indifferent, how when we came in here, Bombas had kind of landed into kind of the last stop on the block, right? Just based off of inventory they had. And, it was just.
I call that a CPI dealer.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And so, like I said, from our previous employment, we knew the higher ACV model could work, and we had seen it work. We had seen it work successfully. Is it a different customer? Yes. Right. It's a little bit higher income earning, but they're still subprime, right? We had seen kind of the track record. I had been on the buying end of that for a really long time, so I knew exactly what worked. Being on the service side, I knew what to stay away from.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like what I don't want to buy. And I had a buy list in my head from day one. We kind of had an ACV target, but again, it was kind of coming into this market. We were like, well, let's just hope it's kind of like Houston.
Hey, real quick break to make sure you guys know about BlitzPay. It's who I use to take all the payments at my Buy Here, Pay Here dealership. We've been with them for almost 3 years now, and it is absolutely amazing. It's great.
Yeah, the product is so simple, even an idiot like me can use it. But when my collector's out and I'm just taking a phone call here or there, no matter where I am, I can log into BlitzPay and I can take that payment. I can see the customers texting in and say, hey, can you run this? Or whatever's going on, it's always on top of it. And the money's in the bank almost the next day. And that is, to me, so important. And the support is great. If we do have a chargeback or a dispute, we get an email that says, hey, there was this dispute. And then their team goes to work to help us resolve it. They don't just dump it back on your table with some random notification or email that you barely ever see, like my previous processors. Yeah, that it's so helpful. And a lot of times it's because our customers did something wrong. But when it's not, they'll fight to the end with you and get that money back in your account. Yeah, so give them a call. The guys and girls over at BlitzPay, great partner to have. Definitely an essential tool to have if you're a Buy Here, Pay Here dealer.
Did it work immediately?
You'd be surprised, but May, when we first started, it was about half and half model in May of 2024. We had a red Silverado on our front line. And mind you, we had been just staffing and stuff. We hadn't really started marketing or anything. We had a walk-in drive up, put 18 grand down on it.
Immediately. Boom.
Wow.
And I think him and I looked at each other and we're like, holy crap, this might be good. It's a different beast, right? Obviously takes more capital, right, to do this model.
Once you get to that point, and then it should.
Yeah, it's
roll.
You got to build it up, but you got to do that,
But to your point too, I mean, you're not you can't really be as flexible on a $20,000 Silverado as you can on a $4,000 Ford Focus, right? Like in that situation, I want the money, not the cars.
Yeah.
And in your situation, talk to us about that, like that mentality shift of no, like we protect the asset at all costs here, because that $20,000 truck can be a $2,000 pile of metal.
Again, we talked about this earlier, is we were very fortunate that we had people that wanted to come, when they found out we were doing and relocate and do whatever. One of those people is our finance director, and he understands what we're trying to set out to do. We try to offer what we believe is fair interest rates, fair pricing, in turn, premium inventory, right? But your contractual, obligation to us is on-time payments. And those aren't, no, mind you,
People have
things happen, right? But
We are dealing
this
with
is a pretty
suffering
new portfolio, right? And so you got to earn some of that credibility both ways, right? But he understands that, and he cut his teeth in rent to own,
Oh man, that's
right?
tough.
And he talking
Good collector there.
30 years in rent to own.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he knows the customer. It's funny when I get brought into any type of customer situation, I'm like, oh, maybe, my heart's more in it than his. No, he could see right through it.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Get the car back as fast as you can.
Short leash, I imagine. The insurance situation. I mean, is this when you're dealing with those ACVs, are you guys still, do you sell a CPI product? Or do you, I mean, because I'm scared of that. I'm scared to put those in my portfolio, my CPI.
I was originally, and now mine's not quite as high end as this.
We also, charge a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, you make up for it. The only bolt-on products that we sell are CPI, GAP, and then the dealer service contract.
Sure.
And those are things that we just feel confident about.
You're 18 months in. Is the other portfolio gone now?
No, it's close. But so we started with the 15 million, and we got it. Paul and his team and the finance department really did a bang up job just getting it to a place where it was current paying customers, right? Okay. And so we had to work through a lot of chaff, to use the military term.
Yeah.
Right. With a lot of charge offs. So we had about a little over 2 million, with roughly 300 accounts left. And we just couldn't see the forest through the trees. And you've mentioned it takes a long time to wind down, and it takes longer than you ever can imagine. You think it's going to happen in a short amount of time. It doesn't. It just takes, you got to realize we're 16 months into this and we still have 300 accounts active, and none of those got put on while we were here.
Yeah.
Right. So you can start doing the math. It's going to take you 2 to 3 years to wind down something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and do it the right way. So we have built the portfolio down to about $2 million, 300 accounts. And I just shopped that portion of the portfolio around, was able to get 4 different bids on those, on that portfolio. And then I was able to go to the lender and just say, hey, look, this is what I think the best option is. We've got to see the forest through the trees at some point, and these things are just dragging us down. It's a sea anchor. It's just not going away. And so we all agreed, like, let's move these notes. So we just closed yesterday on the note sale. So
And
we ended up selling about 240 accounts.
yeah, I thought you got a good number.
Yeah,
50%.
74%, which is good.
Yeah.
It allows, like, it's not a huge, whirlwind of cash. It just allows us to pay down our debt.
And it's just brain damage you don't have to deal with.
And brain damage we don't. And, we can start, like I said, we can now start focusing. Not that we haven't, but it's just been all.
Yeah. It's been muddling the data for a earlier time. Does that make sense?
Plus your collections team. I mean, those are needy accounts. Your collection team can focus on the high dollar stuff.
Service problems with them,
CPI, everything.
So where does Vamos go from here?
Well, I'm sure Casey and I have the same answer, but it's just maintain the course. And the course is not overgrowth, sustainable growth, slow growth, if that makes sense. We're not trying to break any world records in sales. And just what we talk about all the time. And when we started, we had to be a car selling company. We had to sell vehicles. We were really a retail lot. Now we're a finance company.
Yeah.
So where we go from here, it's being a finance company, being a legit finance company, using the front side to, still,
fresh water in the barrel.
Put fresh water, but it's the back end, y'all know, and by the payer
that's where the money's made.
That's where it is. So we don't have any grand plans to expand. 2 stores is all we want. That's our comfort level. We have, good forecasts with the banks for a couple years, on what we want to do. And, look, there'll be hand grenades thrown in here. We'll have to, but, there's no, you can add, but we don't have any grand, like what you see right now is
looks pretty great.
Is what you get.
Yeah, well, and I think we've been afforded the, opportunity to kind of see what happens with explosive growth and kind of the world. And you guys know right now these last few years have been a very volatile time in our industry.
In the last couple of weeks have been
weeks, even more. And so, you look at all these, businesses and, there's a lot of common denominators, right? And for Travis and I, we don't need any accolades, right? We're not trying to do any side businesses right now. This is it. And we know that the path to that success is focusing on this. It's very important to him and I that we live here, right? And we're back and forth to the Houston location.
One of us is here. Yeah. Both of us are here normally every day, except when one of us is in Houston.
But there's also not this delusion, or at least for me, that I want to grow to be a 50-store buy here, pay here operation.
Yeah.
Right.
You can make so much money in 2 locations that you can't spend it all.
All right, Jeff, we're getting close. We are getting so close to getting that money in the bank. You can smell it. Those checks are just flying out, right?
I smell those checks. So we're doing our refund advance right now. We're in the 4th quarter. We're doing some estimates with our last pay stub. And when the TaxMax says, hey, this is good to go, they let you print the refund advance check. So we're not too far away from that, which is really, really exciting. The second we start filing in our location, we are also going to be able to start printing out the refund advance checks, which is a huge, huge helper. And honestly, when you look at the customers and they say, oh, well, this is going to cost me a little bit more, it doesn't matter because they're getting the money now and it's completely worth it for them to get into a vehicle today as opposed to waiting another 8 to 9 weeks.
Yeah, just imagine the amount of money you save by buying a car in December than when you buy it in March from the same person, because prices go up, unfortunately, during tax season. But if you buy it early, you're good to go.
Yeah, and what I tell my customer, I say, look, if you wait until March, April, that car won't even be here. If
That's
it's
right.
a 3rd row SUV, if it's a truck, if it's in demand, it won't be here by then. So act now. Let us file your taxes. Let us get you the refund advance so we can get you on the road today. It's super easy. Call the guys and girls over at TaxMax. Use VIP code to get 20% off the VIP package. Do it right now. It's not too late.
And don't forget to use it for collection strategies too, Jeff. So important.
I'll tell you, after going to conventions and being at 20 groups and coming from a big dealer, I'll tell you I've come full circle where, I've looked at these guys, these smaller guys have been doing it for 10, 20 years, that are on their own money now. Where in the beginning, when I worked for a big group, I'm like, oh man, you sell 50 cars a month. We're doing 500. Like, but I'll tell you, when I go back to those conventions and those 20 groups, like those are the guys I hone in on now because they have figured out the path. I mean, just like you guys, there's nothing for me, I don't have this big ego issue that I want to grow to this, be the number one, whatever.
I've seen so many super successful dealers that have 1 and 2 stores.
Yeah.
And they get to the point they're no leverage.
Sure. Yeah.
They're just printing money.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the end goal, but, you do enough case studies in business school to know there's no overnight success.
No.
There's
easy.
there's 16 months into this. We've got a long road.
Yeah. At what mark, you're 16 months in.
Yeah.
Is it 5 years in or 6 years in when you finally can take a breath and go, you know what? I think we got it.
Well, I don't think we'll ever take that breath. I'll be honest with you, because I just,
No.
yeah.
Well, I'm shutting down, so yes now.
Yeah. Now you can take the breath,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think, I'm not going to sit here and say what 5 or 6 years are going to look like down the road, but I do know enough about businesses that do fail, and they can be, for example, this place that we took over was riding high for a long time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the operators weren't here anymore.
Yeah. Laughable.
And then all of a sudden that water starts filling up. So I know the pitfalls there, and so I don't think that'll ever be I like working. But what does that look like? Look, it's deleveraging. I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean,
We talk about that so much.
it's get to a place where the money we're taking in is paying down the debt.
Cash flow, baby.
And so cash flow, it's the whole, and we can get into a long discussion on, where I think people get in, fall into that.
That's a whole other episode.
It has been. In fact,
Yeah.
So, I don't know how many years that's going to be, I mean, I know that the next 2 years are crucial for our business here, which is as we continue to grow, the place of where we start paying down our debt, right? That's what we're getting to.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but we have to, it's this very nerve-wracking business when you're having to take on debt to eventually pay down that debt.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah. Right. So that's those are the things where you go, okay, I know it'll get there if we don't try to over commit to things, but it's going to take time. And, sometimes, once again, I go back to, if you don't have the right lender, they don't understand that time, and our lender it's willing to walk through us has a way.
And being an owner who's willing to have those hard conversations when they're needed with your lender.
Yeah. Well, I sat down with them and the bank owners, and when we first started doing this, and because it was the God honest truth, I just said, what do you want out of this?
Yeah.
No, so we're on the same page. This is before we said we would do it. This was just kind of, and they said, look, we want to be in this business. Okay. We do believe that it's a good business, but we just need someone that's willing to
do it the right way.
Show us some things, because they get their lenders. They have oil deals and cattle deals and, buyer payer deals and franchise deals and floor plans and, internet, you name it. They're lending money to all walks of life. So they don't have a certain specific person that is a subject matter expert in buyer payer. And if you kind of have to have someone there, our lenders, they understand that. They're willing to learn. They're willing to say, look, we want to learn.
And luckily you have a business degree and smart enough to help educate them.
Well,
because so many of these dealers don't.
Look, I meet with them. I talk to them regularly. Look, we're not trying to get into bacon fatigue. It's not like I'm calling them every day. I talk to them once every couple of weeks. I fly up there once a quarter. I meet with the whole leadership team. And I say, pepper me with questions. I give them a presentation of where we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I say, go, just bring it. Yeah. And a lot of it is, where do you see that, we don't understand, why you would do this, or have you ever thought about this, or why do you, and so you have to be confident that you're giving them the right information.
You have to know your data.
Yeah.
And you have to know your KPIs.
That's where it goes, where, you understand the analytics, you understand what's going in, and then it helps, with that. So that's the main.
Well, I was just going to say, with all of kind of what's happened over the last few years, I just think that the banks are realizing more and more that, they need and want to see the data from us. Right. And so,
they better,
and for good reason, right? We walked in, had the data analyst that he's been with forever. And we're able to kind of provide a very clear picture of what's going on, right?
There's sometimes I run the data and I'm like, gosh, I don't want to show them.
I don't want to show them that.
But I just say, what? Look, what am I? It is what it is, and so, you just go through those trials and tribulations, you get better for it. And kind of been our MO is full transparency. I always went to, I didn't go to a ton of 20 group meetings. I could do a whole episode on why I think that they shouldn't be around, but they're, look, the military was, when you debrief a flight, you're airing your dirty laundry, and you don't take it personally, but you don't grow from
Flood your numbers.
Yeah. Okay. You don't grow from what you do right. You grow from what you do wrong. Yeah. And so I'd go to these 20 group meetings, and it was just a bunch of people talking about how awesome they were. And
if you were in.
And for me, it was like, you did the best idea award. And I said, well, why are we doing the best idea? Let's do the worst idea. Because that's how I'm going to learn, right?
This is what I did that was really dumb.
Right? That's how you're going to learn from the industry. It's going to places where people are willing to have honest conversations with you and say, look, I tried this. It didn't work. Doesn't mean you can't make it successful.
But don't do it this way.
Here's what I wouldn't do, and here are the pitfalls, versus saying, oh, yeah, because I always laugh because everyone inflates their cash down percentage by at least 5%.
Am I supposed to be doing that?
I haven't been doing that.
I don't know. I was supposed to be doing that.
So it's like, all right, dude,
really?
And come on, let's just be honest here. That way we can all get to the same spot.
Yeah.
And it's different. Everyone looks at numbers different.
That's right.
Y'all mentioned it. It's independent dealers for a reason. There is no playbook.
Yeah.
There is no one size fits all. Everyone's got a different capital stack.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a different way of looking at things, and so it's important. And you can't get people on that same page in one sitting.
This has been so great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Generous, for letting us come in here and answering so many questions so candidly. And being transparent on that. It's super interesting. Before we leave, I do want to go look around the place.
Okay.
You'll take us a tour
Yeah.
through some of the features you got going here, through the shop. I want to see what you've done. And I mean, some of the inventory, man.
All right, man.
All right, thank you.
So thank you guys. Yep.
I like that wall though. That wall is neat because it's. I always wanted to do one with like wooden frames that were different sizes of all the people. Yeah,
This
is what you come from. Like you understood this inventory.
Yeah, this is more, familiar to us just because of what we came from previously.
Yeah.
Right.
The nice thing is, which was good about this, was obviously the service center was here.
Dude, that's a
Right.
great spot for it too.
We'll service all the cars here, and then Casey ships everything to Houston. So we don't do any. We do service cars in Houston, but all the buys and repos come here.
Oh.
They all get done here, recon, and then they'll go to Houston. Just look, what's the number one place your money leaves,
Yeah, for sure. You need
Right.
to have your hand on it.
right? And it's the hardest thing to track analytically. We can do all analytics in the world, but it is really hard to do service analytics.
It's almost impossible.
And so
Who's your service software?
Omnique.
Omnique, yeah.
Okay, same here. Look at that, man. We're like identical. I'm
Yeah.
just like a little, like
But
stepchild
it's
size.
does
Just
the
mini
job,
size.
but it's hard to. You can see how it's an old bank. You see that like
Yeah. So the front one was a bank as well, and
yeah, this was like the drive. part
This
of
was
the
a
drive.
the commercial side.
I like the drop box. The
Yeah.
key drop.
Everything you see in here was here. Casey, the only he took out a few lifts because you'll see it was really really tight.
So one of the things that was kind of unique previously is they at one point tried to third party all of their service work, right?
Okay.
And so
they own the building. They just leased it out.
they leased it out to another company. It did not go probably like anybody wanted it to go, but of course that company came in and they fit every lift that they could in here. That made absolutely no sense logistically. And when I got here, I was like, we don't need all these lifts,
Right.
And so
Well, you just need more, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what most people think when it comes to service. If I just had more lifts, if I just had more technicians.
and so we were able to take those lifts and move them to Houston.
Okay, so when we were down in Houston, you weren't doing, I don't think, any service work down there.
yeah, we got a customer service technician
Okay.
hired down there now.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen a million shops, but
Yours is so clean. I
Yeah.
mean,
Wow. If you need any TVs,
the TVs were on the wall. We've never turned them on. Maybe we'll put something on there one day.
Edgar at Rodeo,
Yeah.
they had like a shop workboard to show how many we've done today, how many we produced
Yeah.
for the month. I always thought that was kind of neat because
Yeah.
it gives everybody an idea of what's going on. Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were trying to do.
Trying to
with
do,
it,
yeah.
But,
Wow.
it just never got.
So most of this stuff was here,
Yeah,
like
right.
the rack machine. Like,
Everything.
dude, what a great. I mean,
Casey put in the
I
fan.
put the fan.
Big ass fan.
such a great gig to come in after someone who's like gone over the top.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I would never do this.
But you did it, so I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great building, though, too. Great
Yeah.
size. And
It's a good size. I don't really see us outgrowing this anytime in the near future.
No, we will not have.
Like I said, because they were a 7-store operation, they had an off-site detail shop that was maybe a mile down the road. So they just didn't have the space. And so we came in and immediately shut that down, and we brought our detail crew here.
Yeah.
And so they're just on the other.
the stores, was this the
This
recon?
was the hub,
This is
yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is, I mean, if you're in Dallas area, this is a great spot for hub and spoke.
Yeah,
type
it's good.
situation.
I mean, this Arlington is. We've been really surprised with Arlington.
Yeah, very centrally located. And
I mean, this was like, we were going to have to figure out how to make this work anyway.
either way, it didn't matter. Yeah.
And so, the big question mark for us was we knew the higher ACV customer was a possibility in Houston. We just didn't really know anybody that was doing it here. And so we kind of took that same model and said, okay, let's mimic this here, see what happens. And it has outperformed our Houston market by probably 10 to 15% in kind of every aspect, which has been pretty. I mean, that's always a good surprise, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I would think this would be a better market, but I mean, if you knew what you knew down there, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Wow.
should know it.
What is so? You're buying online all over Texas and wherever, and they're just shipped here first.
Yeah.
And do you have an inventory control manager?
I do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got a service manager here, and then like I said, we were really blessed that when we took this on, we had a few people willing to relocate with us.
Yeah.
And so my inventory manager relocated from Houston, my service manager relocated from Houston, you know, our sales manager relocated from Oklahoma. And I mean, that was really gave
Wow.
us the
Yeah.
ability right off the bat to have people we trusted, because obviously when we came in here, it was fully staffed, right? Like, and so I came into a service manager I didn't know, a sales manager I didn't know, and because of, you know, right or wrong, but because of what had been going on for the last year, you know, it's really hard to turn the corner with those people. And you know, it was really important to us that really quickly we ripped the Band-Aid and brought in the right people into
Yeah.
the fold.
Did you keep anybody from the old?
Yeah,
Okay. Let's see.
Not a ton.
not much. But
There are always some good people.
There is. I
Yeah.
mean, but it's, you know, you learn in the military, the only way to change a culture is with a shock. I mean, and so you got to bring your people in, and it's just, you know, there's time is money in this business. We
Yeah.
didn't have 6 months to hope people were going to turn around
Right,
and get on
right.
board,
Yeah.
and they don't, because they think that we're the
Yeah.
bad ones. We,
Yeah.
you know, and
Mhm.
now their good deal is done.
How many technicians do you have to recon 100 plus cars a month?
So here I've got one customer tech. I've got 3 recon techs that can kind of they'll take on each other's work depending on workload. I've got 2 GPS techs that are light parts installers. One of those guys can do state inspections, and 2 detailers.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of production.
Can you do that much production with that limited staff because of the inventory you're buying?
Sure, you know, that doesn't hurt, right? But because you got to realize another part that's kind of unique to us is we didn't keep any of the Vamos, we call it 1.0 inventory. So when we repo from that portfolio, it goes straight to the auction.
Okay.
So we really, for that first year, are hardly recycling any of our
Yeah.
inventory, right? And so now we're getting to that part where we're recycling more of our own inventory. And you know, the repo inventory is just different,
Yeah.
right? And so it takes a little bit more work.
Yeah.
So we're kind of at that point now where it's like it's getting a little harder to maintain those numbers.
How about
Um,
warranty work?
As in what?
Are you doing it here in
Yes.
house? Okay.
Not all of it. I
Not-
mean, there's, you
Yeah.
know, if they're outside a certain radius, they can take
Right.
Yeah.
you know, take their car wherever they want.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
big idea of trying to get someone in Houston, because we didn't
Yeah.
have enough notes there yet, enough cars on the streets to justify hiring someone down there full time. But
Mhm.
now we're at the point where, you know how it is, you send the warranty work, vehicle service contract stuff goes to some Joe's auto shop,
They
and you
knock
get
your
a
head
bill
off.
for 15 grand
That's right.
for,
Yeah.
you know, replacing a transmission, right? And
That
so-
and it's like they do a crap job and it didn't fix
Yeah.
it. Then you got a real mess.
So we just hired. He started this week or next week or
Starts
something.
next week, actually.
So-
yeah.
And that'll just allow us to do more in house, because when it's in house, you can manage it. So
Yeah.
quickly.
Crucial.
And so
you have one person that handles like all customer complaints, like service wise.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's just their job of
that's their job.
policy and service contract and warranty issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the
Makes sense.
service contract repair approval goes through Casey and the service man.
Right.
Because we've seen that.
Somebody takes the incoming call, schedules things.
Yeah.
And
And they
then-
approved because I'm just
Oh yeah, I know.
it's we witnessed it a little bit last month in August. Saw service claims spike, and we just sat down and said, look, we've got to get a better handle on this, because these people it just cuts through all your reinsurance.
Yeah.
And so,
Cool.
anyways, you just have to. This is this is what keeps me up at night.
It keeps me up at night. Service is couple things. Having a frustrated customer keeps me up at night,
Yeah.
right? And then having their car in service and we not be able to fix it is, I hate that
Yeah.
because I know what it's doing to my account.
Yep.
I know what it's doing to my staff.
Mhm.
And I know what it's doing. We're losing money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just throwing parts at it. What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, like I said, it's hard to track analytics in the service part. It's really hard.
It's brutal.
You
Yeah.
know? And so
And we're pretty, you know, one of the things that our finance director and I, we sat down and not figured out, but really kind of made a decision to do was, you know, we were going to really push our customers to stay current on their payments when their cars were in service. I've seen that get out of control.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where customer cars are in service and they're just, I'm not paying until my car's fixed. And so we started from day one. Both of us said, look, we're going to do our best job to get these cars through as fast as possible, you know. And he was like, look, we're going to do our best job to keep them current, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing we've tried really hard to,
That's super important.